Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just move this thing away. Hello, friends. How are you? I'm good. Thank you for asking. Oh my God, so sweet. I'm Allie. This is my little bookish channel. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe, like, comment if you so enjoy what I'm about to do. Maybe it's a bit too early to ask for you to subscribe, like, and comment then. Anyway, we are back with another season of TBR Jar Chooses My Reads for a week. This is part of my TBR Take Down series. Last year, it kind of accidentally went on hold because the book that I chose in like September, was a vampire Lestat, and I was just not feeling it. Sorry to say, just not feeling it. So, but we're back. Brand new year. Let's just do this. Okay? Okay. Let's get the jar and let's begin. It's right here. I am going to be honest with you. I'm very nervous. I am very nervous and I'm scared. God, I'm scared and nervous and terrified. What I would like a fantasy. I'm feeling like a fantasy. I do not want a heavy emotional book. I don't want literary. I just want fantasy. This is all my physical TBR reads that I own. If you have never watched one of these videos before. Okay, we're just gonna open it. Oh my God. Okay, we're just gonna dig. I feel like I have to. I'm trying to like mix it around because I don't know how good the shaking actually works. Now this is such a small one. Now the rule is if I pick out a sequel to a book, for instance, not a sequel, like just a book in a series, but I haven't read the book previous to that one, then I have to obviously read the other one. Then I just put, you know what I mean? It's like a placeholder. So you can look at it first. Hopefully it's the right way. Tell me, is it okay? Oh, God. Vampires? I don't have anything called... Oh my God, is this the vampire Lestat? And I just didn't put the entire title. I don't own anything called vampires. 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been looking through my bookshelf, my TBR. I don't have any book title called just vampires. What I did have was the vampire Lestat. So I'm thinking I just wrote the fuck? I'm leaving that one out. I think this is supposed to be the vampire Lestat, but I don't, what the fuck? I'm so weird. Why would I do that? I even looked on my Goodreads. No. There's nothing that I have that's just called vampires. I had the vampire Lestat. Anyway, I'm chucking this out. The fuck? Let's go back to the TBR jar. That was so weird. If I actually remember what that book is supposed to be, and if it's actually a title of some kind of a book, then I will... Oh my God. Oh my God. Then I will then tell you and I will end up reading it. But I'm pretty sure that was for the vampire Lestat. Is this just one? Yeah. This doesn't look like just one. Okay. Is that... Okay. Ooh! Okay, so it's not technically a fantasy. It's When I Sing Mountains Dance. But that means, that's actually good because that means that I can read more than just one book in this reading vlog. So it's When I Sing Mountains Dance by Irene Solar, and it's like a speculative magical realist situation. It is not short story collection, but it is about a man named Dominic, who is struck by lightning. He and his family grow up wild on the summits of the Pyrenees, but the land is not theirs. It belongs to those who have long called the mountain their home, which is like the mushrooms, the deer, the ghosts of Spain's civil war, and the clouds that top these perilous climbs. As the years tumble by after Dominic's death, these inhabitants come together to bear witness to the tragedies that befall the family he leaves behind. Oh, elemental story of love and loss. I got this at Neighbourhood Books in Northcote, a fantastic bookshop. If you're in Melbourne, please go. And I saw it and I was like, oh my God, amazing. Like finally, I see this book in a bookstore because I can't find it at my library. And then it's blurbed by Allie Smith and Mariana Enriquez and Max Porter, but I've never read Max Porter, and Camilla Gradova. I gave her book 3.5 stars. Was it Children of Paradise or something? I read it for the Women's Prize. So like, it's giving me Gabriel Garcia Marquez vibes. If you do not know, 100 Years of Solitude is one of my favorite classics. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this. This is what I'm going to be reading. Hopefully I read this in a few days, so that way we can choose book number 2, but we'll see. I will keep you updated. But look at this cover. Oh my God. It is so beautiful. Granta has some of the most beautiful books. I should say this was translated from the Catalan. Oh my God, can someone tell me how to pronounce that? I need to Google it. By Mara Faye Lethem. So here we have it. Oh, fantastic. I will see you soon. Let's do an update pertaining to When I Sing Mountains Dance. Now, I am giving this 3.5 stars, and that is because I enjoyed it. It was definitely exactly what I wanted. However, I do think that the first half of this very short book is not even 200 pages. I'm pretty sure. It's not even 200 pages, it's 196. The first half is definitely stronger in terms of engagement, in terms of uniqueness, in terms of just like the pacing of the story. You feel like it's building to something. And then the second half, it kind of falls a little flat. Now, When I Sing Mountains Dance, can never pronounce this title. Broadly focused on the family of Dominic, and Dominic dies from a lightning bolt. Now, that was a very insane scene to read because you read it from the actual like lightning cloud, the storm cloud, when they killed Dominic, and it was so incredible. Like, it grabbed you immediately, and I wanted more of that. Like, I feel like some of the best parts of this book are when the story itself is narrated by nature, by creatures, by like mountains, by clouds. Like, that was one of the best aspects of it, and I don't think it went there enough. So after the very tragic death of Dominic, we follow the family, his wife and his 2 kids. So that's like the premise of the story, but we don't necessarily follow their perspectives all that much. You do have them. I think you have at least 4 times, I want to say, you have their perspective, but majority of the story is told from outsiders, or from, well, mostly from outsiders, like neighbors, with like a deer and a cloud and mountains, like mushrooms as well, like trickled here and there. They were my favorite parts. But because the story is narrated by the neighbors and they're observing the family and they're basically updating you on the family, but they're also talking about their own story and living in their town and like their mountain, you forget that the story is supposedly about this family. And I felt slightly disconnected from them. I didn't necessarily not care. It was more like I was just watching from afar. Like, there was no emotional connection for me. And with a story like this, I kind of wanted there to be an emotional connection, because it's about the tragedy that befell this family and how they were able to continue on. But I think that the writing is worth it. The writing is so worth reading this. The uniqueness of having the land itself be part of the story, because the land so instrumental in in this story, the mountains themselves, like it's just, the land really is this huge aspect of it. So I really, really loved that. I just wanted more of that. I don't think there was enough for it to be like on the blurb. It kind of talks about, you know, it belongs to those who have called the mountain their home, the mushrooms and the roe deer, the ghosts of the Spain Civil War and the clouds and stuff. Like I feel like there should have been a bit more. And we did get some chapters from the perspective of the ghosts that live in the mountains, and again that was really interesting. But again, like I would rather their story, like I feel like this either had to be much more of a narrower scope in terms of like actually focus on the family and do so in a way that makes the reader want to care, or make this larger, make this a bigger book and have it be like 100 Years of Solitude, have it be this like very broad, wonderful meandering through the mountains where we meet all these different characters and different families, where there is space enough for that to happen. It honestly at times felt like a short story collection that just was connected. You know, when you have those short story collections that the stories connect to each other, that's what it felt like at times. And even though this is 200 pages, I got bored at the end. Like I was just like, and like, come on, like, and you don't want that for a not even 200 page book. So that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. But I am definitely recommending this for the writing and the story itself. Like I feel like if you enjoy this type of magical realism, speculative type of storytelling, I really, really recommend it. I want to read out some quotes actually from this book, because some of these quotes were amazing. This is my little my little quote journal. I just started this year. I might do a video about my journals because I love journaling, and this year's like I got back into it last year, and so this is my little quote journal. So let's go to When I Sing Mountains Dance. I want to not read all of them, but I'm going to read some of them. This is from the perspective of Dominic's wife, Sio, I think her name is? Sio. I don't know what hurts more, thinking only of the good memories and giving in to the piercing longing that never lets up, that intoxicates the soul, or bathing in the streams of thought that lead me to sad memories, the dark and cloudy ones that choke my heart and leave me feeling even more orphaned at the thought that my husband was not at all the angel I held him up to be, and that he didn't love me enough, as, in fact, no man ever loves enough. Just really beautiful. And there's this one that I wrote. It's just, love is a deceitful venom. And then we have, this is the last quote that I'll read out, but the infinite dwells in each of us, like a window on the top of our heads that we didn't even know was there, and that the poet's voice opens up little by little, and up there, through that crack, is the infinite. How stunning. That's what I mean. Like, it's truly like beautiful. I just think the story itself needed a bit more work. But I did my reading journal entry for it, and I like how it came out. I did a little doodle. I'm not a very good drawer, but I did that. This is my rouge one. Really like it. You can tell that I was getting a bit more creative because this is my entry for the Amber Spyglass. This is my entry for the Amber Spyglass, and then you go to rouge, and then When Mountains Sing. When I Sing Mountains, I always say When Mountains Sing, but that is my update for this. it's time to choose another book. We're in my room instead of my office area because you are charging. So let's, I don't know where the bloody lid went. Okay, we'll try and like dig. I don't know, or do we go from the top? What should I do? Okay, let's just, I always get so nervous, but I love doing these. Poster girl, interesting. This I think is a dystopian by Veronica Roth? I'll go get it, found it. So this is my edition of Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. It is quite pretty. It's a Fairy edition. I think, well, I don't know if this is technically young adult or if it's adult. We'll soon find out. But it's something about surveillance and like Big Brother. Something about like some sort of thing inside the eyes that were placed under a particular like totalitarian regime, but now there's been like a revolution or something. So shall we read the blurb together? Okay, there's also like eye stuff, and it says here, what's right is right. Okay, and then the blurb says, Sonia Cantor knows this slogan, which is what's right is right. She lived by it most of her life. For decades, everyone in the Seattle, Portland megalopolis, what a word, lived under it, as well as constant surveillance in the form of the insight, an ocular implant that tracked every word and every action, rewarding or punishing by a rigid moral code set forth by the delegation. Then there was a revolution. The delegation fell. Its most valuable members were locked in the aperture, a prison on the outskirts of the city, and everyone else, now free from the insight's monitoring, went on with their lives. Sonia, former poster girl for the delegation, has been imprisoned for 10 years when an old enemy comes to her with a deal. Find a missing girl who was stolen from her parents by the old regime and earn her freedom. I cannot read today. The path Sonia takes to find the child would lead her through an unfamiliar, crooked post-delegation world where she finds herself digging deeper into the past and her family's dark secrets than she ever wanted to. Poster Girl is a haunting dystopian mystery that explores the expanding role of surveillance on society, an inescapable reality that we all welcome too easily. So that's that. I'm gonna be honest, not really looking forward to it. I think this is adult. The only reason why I say that is, didn't she write the Divergent series? She wrote something, right? Like a really big series back in the day. That is not here, like books also by Veronica Roth. So unless it's a different publisher, I don't know. Interesting. So I'm going to read this. At least the cover is gorgeous. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you all, not looking forward to this one. This is one of those fairy lit books that I'm just like, I think I want to read and I will read, but like not a priority. But now it's a priority. So we're reading this. That's why I love the TBR jar. It is just so fun. So, as you can see, I have read a fair way into Poster Girl by Veronica Roth. I think I'm over halfway, and I don't quite know how to feel about it yet. So let me just brain dump, okay? We have Sonia, She is the main character of this book, and I also don't quite understand who the demographic of this story is. Don't know who the audience is in terms of like age group, if it's adult or young adult. I'm not quite sure because it reads like young adult. Anyway, so Sonia was the child of people who like worked for the delegation, which was essentially like the tyrannical regime of the government at the time when she was a kid. And so when the delegation fell as a result of the uprising, the resistance, whatever you want to call it, the rebellion, people who weren't killed were arrested and placed in a prison they call the Aperture. It's like a residential prison. I think it's got like housing, and it's like a mini town essentially, but they can't leave, they're walled in. What we have in Sonia's case and many other cases is that the child inherits the sins of the parents. So these children who were mostly minors didn't know better, right? They grew up in this world, they didn't know any better, but they were still criminalized. So we have that. And fast forward however many years, I think they said 10, I don't quite remember. I think it was 10, which, does that mean that she's 27? I don't know. I'm really confused as to her age, to be honest. I feel like I read it and then I just forgot. But I'm pretty sure she said that she was 17 when she was arrested, and it's been 10 years. So she should be 27. If she's 27, okay. Anyway, so she's in Aperture, the prison, with other people who were part of the delegation, in, you know, even if it was like admin roles, but they all, some more than others, had roles and were actively a part of, you know, the system of coercion and oppression and violence. And that's why I'm really slightly confused, because are we supposed to feel sorry for them? Like, I just don't get it. And it's really hard to figure it out at the moment. And maybe it's because Sonia is going to go through a period where she perhaps breaks out of the like delegation conditioning, essentially. Like, she's not horrible about it, but like, you grow up with something, she's just almost automatically reciting things in her head and acting like it still exists in some cases. I'm going ahead of myself. She gets approached by a member of the Triumvirate, which is the new government, which is just the delegation, but not. Like, they sound exactly the same, except that the delegation made everyone insert called insight. It's like a what do you call it? Like an implant. Oh my god, like an implant in your eye that like it watches you. But you also like, it's like a phone in your head, basically. Like, you can call people, you can message people, you can watch internet videos, like all that shit. Whereas a triumvirate doesn't, and technically like gets rid of insight, even though that maybe is not the case. But I digress. She gets approached by a dude named Alexander Price, who they actually grew up together. She was engaged to his brother, like a betrothed, I should say. It was organized by the parents. Alexander was supposedly the one who like betrayed his family and her family and told the uprising where they were hiding. I feel like there's more to it, but that's what we get. Anyway, he comes and he's like, if you want your freedom, find this girl named Grace Ward. And she first starts off by saying no, but then she changes her mind. She changes her mind in like a sentence. Like, he approaches her once, she says no. He comes again, she says no again. Then 2 seconds later, she's like, actually, I'm going to do it. Don't know why. I feel like she's got another thing that she wants to do. I feel like there's a goal in mind for her. but we are not privy to that information yet. So she's allowed out for 12 hours every day out of the prison to go and search for this girl named Grace Ward. First of all, why was she chosen? She lives in a prison. How would she know? So I just thought, I'm like, okay, I guess. Does she have skills? Like, no skills. She wasn't like a detective back in the day or anything. She was literally a child. She does say that this is just something to show the public that the triumvirate is merciful, but they're actually wanting her to fail because it's like a stupid mission to do, because what the fuck? So I guess you could justify it that way. So now she's trying to find this girl named Grace Ward. Now, why Grace Ward? Why Grace Ward? Okay, so underneath the delegation, if you wanted a second child, or like more than one child, you had to seek permission from the government and gain a permit. So you basically had to justify why a second child would be worth it, because, you know, it's a drain on the resources. Sonia is a second child. Grace Ward, an illegal second child. Her family was able to hide her for 3 years, which is interesting considering that they all have a camera in their eye. They're being watched. But there's like ways to get around it, because there's always ways to get around it. It's technology. It can be hacked. Like, I feel like no one's talked about hacking. I feel like, you know what I mean? When Grace was found, they rehomed her. They basically fucking stole her from her parents and gave her to another couple. And now, 10 years later, the triumvirate has been going through kind of records and trying to place children that were forcibly taken from their families back to their families. Grace Ward is, I think, one of the last ones who needs to be found, and that's what's happening. And I don't quite get it. I don't quite understand the point. I don't get this world. Like, I don't know who it's supposed to be. Like, is this young adult? Is this adult? Is this, because right now it is reading like young adult. It feels like young adult. And I think also I don't understand, not understand, that's not the way to say it. These people that's part of the aperture, like most of them, not all of them, but most of them were actively participating in this oppressive, coercive, authoritarian system, sometimes resulting in violence, right? And like, they would have done like so many things to different people, like signed off on so many things. We're supposed to care? Like, I don't know. But I am also like, from what you can see of the new kind of governmental regime, it is also not necessarily good as well. So it's just interesting, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not vibing with this book at the moment. I'm just reading it and it's fine. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's fine. It's a 3-star. That's what it is for me. It is a 3-star. It is fine. There's nothing terrible about it. Like, there's nothing that is problematic about it, but there's nothing in this that makes me want to be excited about it. Like, I'm not screaming about this book from the rooftops. Like, I don't want people to, like, I wouldn't recommend this to my friends. It's just like a very book, you know, which is very disappointing for me. I still have like 100 pages to go, so maybe something happens and it'll make me excited. I think the main character, Sonia, has a lot of potential to be a really fascinating character, but she's quite dull. This entire thing is quite dull. I just need more. And also, it's quite tiny. It's not even 300 pages. I feel like sometimes being concise is very good, right? Shows talent, shows that your ability to craft whatever. But like the themes that you're talking about in this book, I think deserve a bit more than 269 pages or however many pages there are. It's tiny. I'm not vibing. I need more. And I'm struggling to care about what's happening here. And you know what also annoys me about this book? So I've got sprayed edges, but these aren't sprayed. And I really don't like that. It feels disjointed, it feels weird. Oh, there's Hunter. Hi, baby. I finished it last night. 2 stars. Everything that I said still stands and nothing changed. I didn't care. There wasn't enough world building. I felt as though everything was just very subpar. Premise sounds good. Execution falls really flat. That's what I can describe it as, really flat. So this is not a win, but I thought we have 3 days. Technically we have today, which is Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, a full week. So I thought, like Monday to Monday. So I thought I'm gonna try one more book from the TBR jar and see if we can get at least 1 5-star in this vlog. So we've got a 3.5 star, a 2 star. You know what, actually, I'm just aiming for a 4 star. I'm honestly just aiming for a 4 star. Can we get a 4 star? Sorry for the washing machine. Let's get my TBR jar. She's back. I don't know where I put the fucking lid. Anyway, I don't know what I want, but I don't want too big of a book. But I bet you that's gonna happen. I'm gonna dig really deep in here and see what happens. Oh, do I have one? Is that one? I have 2. Okay, I have 1 now. It is so humid in Melbourne. It's 80% humidity right now, or 79. But like, here we go. No, I think I know what it is. Okay, where is it? Oh my god, it's right in front of my face. It's The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. I was not planning on reading this. Okay, so this is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale that no one bloody asked for, but she wrote it and it's here, it exists. I got this as a gift for Christmas one year from Gabby and my brother, and Gabby is my future sister-in-law, and this has been on my shelf since, oh my god, I want to say, when did this come out? It would have been the year it came out, 2019. I got this in Christmas of 2019. Still haven't read it, so maybe it's a good thing. That's what I'm reading for the next 3 days. I really liked The Handmaid's Tale. I think it's one of the only Margaret Atwood books that I actually enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars. Well, like, enjoy in terms of like the impact and the power of it. It's not a story that you enjoy. It's horrible. But I have a very tumultuous history with Margaret Atwood. I really like her short stories, but some of her books I'm just like, eh. But I have so many Margaret Atwood books on my shelf. So maybe this is the year of Atwood. Is it? Who bloody knows? Anyway, I'm gonna go read, I guess. I finished and I cried. It was quite, and I will talk to you about it tomorrow. I need to wash this. I've been sitting here crying for like the past 10 minutes. Okay. I kept on forgetting to do this. The final update for The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. It's been at least like a week since I've read this. How do I say what I want to say? I liked it. This book was a good book. It was a good book. However, was it necessary? It wasn't necessary. The Handmaid's Tale did not need a sequel. I honestly feel like The Handmaid's Tale was better in literally every way. This was still good, but there was a definite decrease in just storytelling, in engagement, in the world. Like, it felt long, and this type of book, you don't want to feel like that. Well, it's meant to be so hard-hitting, so intense, like an emotionally visceral experience, right? And it was, in some respects. Like, I always will think that The Handmaid's Tale and the world of The Handmaid's Tale, and even this, is even more troubling, even more terrifying, because you can so easily see it as our reality. Like, it's not something that feels out of left field kind of thing. So that there was still that, but I was like, okay, can we just get to it then, please? Like, Aunt Lydia is the reason why I wanted to read this. If you don't know, this takes place like 15 years-ish after the ending of The Handmaid's Tale. And it follows three characters, three women: Aunt Lydia, Daisy, and Agnes Jemima. Now, I won't say why those two last names, Daisy and Agnes, are important. Actually, no, I will, because this is full of spoilers. This is a spoiler-filled vlog. So, spoilers for the Testaments. Stop watching. Bye, love you. Daisy and Agnes are half-sisters, and they're daughters of Offred, or June, the main character in The Handmaid's Tale. So, Agnes was given to, the first daughter of June, was given to a family, which she grows up in. And Daisy is obviously across the border in Canada, and she has no idea who she is. So it was really interesting to have a perspective from someone who lives like outside of the, essentially like the regime, and how other people, but also other like neighboring powers viewed this particular like country, so to speak, and their theology. Like, it was really interesting, but it was also an aspect that I was like slightly bored. Like, Daisy and Agnes were interesting, but you read this for Aunt Lydia. Like, I don't think necessarily the two other perspectives were necessary, other than like making this bigger. It could have just been Aunt Lydia. I wanted to know more about Aunt Lydia's backstory. I wanted to know more about just her and her motivations and her feelings on particular things. And I wanted to get a bit more, I want to delve slightly more deeper with Aunt Lydia's character, but we couldn't necessarily do that as much as I wanted it to, because we had to worry about these other storylines that were happening with Agnes and Daisy. And I was like, it's interesting, but I don't necessarily care that much, because we're all reading this book for Aunt Lydia. Well, I know I am. I just generalized there. So that's my 2 cents. It was good. If you want like a solid, good book to read and you read The Handmaid's Tale, go for it. Read this book. But also, don't go in with your expectations like soaring super high, because I personally don't think they will be met. Did I cry though? Of course I did. It's me. I always fucking cry. I cried at the end because the ending was a really nice, neat way of like concluding the story. Was it Booker worthy? No. This was not Booker worthy. I don't think it should have tied with Girl, Woman, Other. Girl, Woman, Other should have won by itself. That's really all I wanted to say. Like, a very short, very sweet. Is it good? Yes. Would I recommend it? Only if you want to. Like, I don't think I would say, oh my God, you need to read it. No, I wouldn't say that. But if you have it on your shelf and you're bored, go for it. Read it. It did take me longer than I anticipated to read it, because again, for me, the pacing, like, I just wanted it to get to a point, which sounds horrible, but I think it was because I just wanted more Aunt Lydia. Like, I found her perspective to be very, very interesting. And that's it. So that's the end of this vlog. I can't believe I read, what, 3 books for the TBR video? And I'm filming this update a week after having read everything. But I think I needed some time away just to collect my thoughts about the Testaments, because at first I rated it 4 stars, then I was like, no. And then I rated it 3.5 stars, and I'm just like, is it 3.5 stars? I'm just a bit everywhere with that book at the moment. I still am a week later. But regardless, that's the end of this reading vlog. I love these videos. I already can't wait to film next month's one, because I just have so much fun. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these books that I read? What did you think of them? What do you think of the Testaments from Margaret Atwood? Am I being too critical? Should I read The Handmaid's Tale? Maybe I have this idea of The Handmaid's Tale being like so much more than what it was or something. I'm not too sure. But let me know. I like when you guys like talk to me. It's fun. Follow me on Instagram, on Twitter if you want to, or X or whatever. Everything is linked down below. Subscribe, please. It makes my heart 3 times the size. Makes it feel really good. And as always, take care, stay safe, happy reading. I will see you next time. Bye.